Well, hello, my Sunday school friends. It is so good to see you, so good that you're still here, that you're still following along in these lessons. We are now at a place in the story, where Israel is in Canaan, where they're figuring out how to live. We are aware that most of the enemies of Israel have been pushed out of Canaan, and the place is now free for God to work with his people to get the world ready, to get his people ready, so that God can send Jesus to make all things new. But there's still a few things to work out. These people were slaves in Egypt. These people had been in Egypt for more than 400 years. Then they were slaves, and then they were in the wilderness for 40 years. There's a lot of stuff that we have to figure out. Last time we talked about how the land was divided up between the tribes. We talked about how the tabernacle was moved to Shiloh, which is sort of a central spot. And the people all went to where they were supposed to go, to where they were supposed to live now, to the cities and to the fields and to the farms all around Canaan. But that's a big change. They're not around the tabernacle anymore. Most of the people aren't anywhere near Shiloh. And they don't see the presence of God in the pillar of fire at night and the pillar of cloud by day. And they don't have the priests and the Levites right with them all the time to teach them and tell them what to do. They don't have Bibles like we have. They don't have scrolls of the holy words. They're just spread out and they don't know anything. And God knew that wasn't a very good plan. That people were going to need to be reminded. They were going to need to be taught. They were going to need to be shown over and over and over again what they should do, how they should obey, and how they should live. And so God said that the Levites should also spread out throughout the countryside. Remember, the Levites were the people who, during all those times in the wilderness, took care of the tabernacle, took care of the ark, taught the people the law. So God spread all the Levites out too. There were a lot of Levites. And you need a few of them at a time to work at Shiloh to take care of the tabernacle and the ark, but you don't need all of them. So the Levites took turns that they would spend some time every couple of years taking care of the ark and the tabernacle at Shiloh, but the rest of the time they were spread out with the people. And in each city they were given land to graze their animals, and they were supposed to spend most of their time teaching everyone, children, adults, elders, everyone, about God's law, about God's commands, about God's love, about God's expectations, what God wanted his people to do. It was a very good system. There was something else, though, that God knew needed changing. The Israelites believed something that's going to sound strange to you. They really believed that if someone killed a member of their family, I'll make it about me so it's easier to understand. If someone kills a member of my family, the rest of the members of my family are allowed to go and kill that person. That the Israelites just believed that that's how it was supposed to be. That people who were injured were allowed to take revenge. And God said to Joshua, no. That is not going to work. Sometimes people kill one another accidentally. Sometimes bad things happen. And the last thing we want is for people who've been involved in terrible accidents to then be chased down by the victim's family and killed themselves. And then that person's family responds, and pretty soon all of the people are at war with one another. Absolutely not. So here's what I want you to do, Joshua. This is what God said. I want you to take 6 cities spread out all across the countryside. Cities that are up on hills so that people can see them from a long distance. And those cities are going to be called cities of refuge. Now, if someone kills another person, they can run to the city of refuge. And when they get there, as soon as they cross the gates, they're safe. A gatekeeper will let them in, but not anyone who's chasing them. And when they get into the city of refuge, they can have a fair trial. We'll find out the circumstances of this killing. Was it an accident? Was it manslaughter? Was it murder? We'll find out. And if this person didn't do anything wrong, then they shouldn't be punished. Accidents happen sometimes. So after a fair trial, if the person is found to be innocent of murder, the family of the victim can't hurt them because they're going to be allowed to stay in this city of refuge. And they can stay there and live there until the current high priest dies. When the current high priest dies, then they're free to leave the city and no one is allowed to touch them, right? No one's allowed to take revenge on them. And that's how I want this to be set up. So God is at work, changing the habits, changing the expectations, changing the culture, working with Israel, right? Today, He's seen fit to make sure that the people are able to learn. He's seen fit to stop some of the things they were doing that were unfair or unjust. He cares about mercy. He cares about justice. He cares about fairness. He cares about you. God is doing all of this stuff, remember, to get the world ready for Jesus. Jesus came, and Jesus lived and taught and suffered and died for you. We'll get to that part of the story too, but for today, just know God loves you like crazy. And I'm glad that we're friends. You take care. Bye-bye.